Shirley Community Trust, Jane Mitchell.
Thank you. As you said, I'm from the Shirley Community Trust, an organisation which has been working in the heart of Shirley for nearly 20 years. I'm here to talk about 10 Shirley Road and the huge potential that space has. Now is a great opportunity to do something proactive and positive for the community, something that will have real impact on many lives. But before I talk to that, I want to congratulate the City Council for the wonderful proactive contribution you make to the life of our city and to our communities. The citywide events, the recreation programs, not to mention the funding you give to community groups such as ours, so that we too can be proactive in our individual communities. With that money, we hold our annual Shine Festival, run programs for people to connect, learn new skills and boost the well-being of both individuals and our community. I also want to acknowledge the very generous gift of the new building to McFarlane Park which we will manage. Having this space will add so much in terms of what we and other groups can offer our community. Thank you. Our community is great. There was an article recently in the paper about Shirley. Shirley is a family-orientated suburb. Some 65% of residents are families with children, and about 21% of its population is between 0 and 15. This is the interesting part. The city average is 17.8%. So our community is great. However, it also has challenges. We have a high percentage of Housing New Zealand homes, generational unemployment, and many in our community do not have cars. At the moment, the Shirley Library has a security guard there in the afternoons. Burger King issues trespass notices, and it can be intimidating to walk past the youth who lurk en masse near the Palms or Shirley Intermediate. That's not good for a community. As a mother of boys and teenagers, I've learned that youth in particular need to be busy, with things to do and safe, affordable places to hang out and meet friends. There was an article in the press last week about youth crime. When the gangs were asked why, the reply was, just a youth thing. We've got nothing to do. It's boredom. We've got no money. For youth, things need to be affordable, accessible and appropriate. The opportunities 10 Shirley Road could offer in this space are huge. I've heard lots of suggestions about what would be best at that site: a skate park, a big space where there can be basketball games, etc., a place for small groups to meet where there is storage available. All are valuable suggestions. The site is close to the malls and shops, on a bus route so easily accessible, and is an open public area making it safe. It is an ideal space for any of these above suggestions. Although I have my preferences about what should go there, as we put in our submission, what I really want is real dialogue to start about what is most beneficial for our community. Because I believe the more proactive we are, and the more we offer our community, and especially our youth, the less reactive we will need to be in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. No, don't go away. Oh. You've got tons of times for questions, yeah. So I just wanted to kind of kick that off with, we had a submission the other day which said, you know, look at the other services that you've got in the area, the library, you've mentioned that today, the service centre, and perhaps we could reimagine that site as something a little bit more, you know, a whole range of things coming together. And the question that I put to her was, well, would it be best that we put some money on the budget so that we can actually engage the community in a conversation about what that could be? Because I think, you know, it's often the way that you want to go to an end point because you want to get to where you're going. But as you've said, if you take the community with you, you're going to end up with something that's really going to meet the community needs in the long term.
Absolutely, and I think it'd be really good to ask the youth too, because they're the ones that's going to affect, because nothing happens fast. So yes, I think that'd be really good. There's lots of discussion out there, everyone has different views and they're all valuable, but it's really good to have community input on all levels. Yeah,
because I mean, it's as you said, the area is quite mixed.
It is.
You know, because you've got, you know, you've got Shirley, and then you've got the other side of Shirley Road, and then you've got Richmond down the other end. You know, like so. yeah, but okay.
And that area becomes a real meeting of the ways too. Meeting of a lot of suburbs.
Well, one of the other submissions also made the point that if you look at the Richmond area, it's kind of split between two community board areas, and it's split between the other way, between two electorates. So, it can be enormously challenging to get everyone focused on an outcome when the sort of kind of the political at the local government level and at the central government level were quite divided. So, anyway, Sarah.
Thank you. In your written submission, you also talk about community funding.
Yes.
Yes, and so do you get some funding?
We get community funding, which is 3-year funding, which we're really appreciative of.
Yeah, and it says here that funding to the sector has been reduced.
The Northwest Collective came to talk about that the other last week. We're part of the Northwest Collective, so we're part of that in that effect.
Yeah. So you're supporting the call for increased community funding?
I think it's really good to be proactive in your communities, and I really admire what the council does. There's always more need out there, and you could always use more money. We're very appreciative of what we do get.
Yeah. And what do you manage to do beyond the small amount of funding that you do get? I mean, how much more does that enable?
It's probably about a quarter of our funding, is that?
Yeah, the City Council provide about a quarter of our funding. So, I mean, in Shirley we have over 180 volunteers. And these are people who can't get jobs. So for people, as a first stage of being on that journey back into doing something valuable and contributing, is hugely, improving the well-being of that community, both health-wise and safety-wise and crime-wise. I think the 10 Shirley Road also strategically is a fantastic location you need to think carefully about. It's highly visible, right opposite Shirley Primary School, next to some shops, just down from the Palms, on a bus route, in between Richmond and Shirley. So, and with a high proportion of youth in the area, it's a very strategic position that needs to, and you say, what should it be used for? I think always, as we all know, good process results in good project.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that really sort of kind of devastated me about the move around Shirley Boys is that if they'd made a different decision around Banks Ave, we could have got that site which came with a gymnasium, which I think would have been stunning, but I'm not sure where they're going to with that now, with the Banks Ave decision. Pauline?
Yes, thank you. It's nice to see you. How would a community centre there, in whatever form it takes, work in conjunction with your facility and your programs that you have there, or would it work together, or would it not?
I think the community centre on Shirley Road is more of a metro type centre, so it's larger. I mean, it was very successful providing for a wide range of groups in the bigger area. So the one that we've got in McFarlane Park is, I suppose, a microcosm of that, which is particularly, I mean, we've got 33 different ethnic groups just around McFarlane Park. So I think that's more than catering for those specific needs who don't have transport, have a lot of issues and need a bit of, I suppose, TLC. I think those who are down on Shirley Road have some more ways and means.
So are you envisaging perhaps a metro flavour might be?
Obviously, predominantly for the Richmond Shirley area, but I think because it is more visible, I think there's more potential to have a bit more of a metro.
Reach out further, whereas you want yours to retain that, community feel, that small community feel. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, Yanni?
Thank you for your submission. You mentioned the Housing New Zealand component of your community, and I just wondered how much housing design and typology should be incorporated into the process that you're talking about in terms of getting good community outcomes.
I mean, the housing, we all know in Shirley, is the classic old 1950s or 1960s style, and they're trying to sort of condense them down so there's much more, housing per small area. I think, again, I mean, when Jane says about the number of families there are in Shirley, so we still need larger houses, but we've also got a lot of elderly people in the area too. So, again, it's trying to get that combination. Is that what you're
I guess like in some areas, areas that I'm familiar with that I represent, like Phillipstown, there's been a huge intensification of social housing. We heard from the Richmond people when they came in around the types of, you know, ghetto, high-rise ghettos basically is what I think they called them, that had been put in Evelyn Cousins Ave. I just wondered in terms of a planning process around a community centre and a community, if we need to think, if you think it's worthwhile thinking broader about the type of housing that occurs around it or the type of community that's actually been built. Not just the physical community centre, but how the rest of the neighbourhood sort of interacts and relates.
Yeah, and the Housing New Zealand were starting down that track and looking at that composite sort of housing. So it was a mixed model of first home buyers and sort of rental accommodation, some and arranged from 1 to 3 bedroom sort of housing. So it was a multiple mixed sort of place. But yeah, I mean, because we have a disproportionate amount of rental properties in the area, I think one of the key things is to try to bring in the first home buyers. So it helps to provide some better role modelling.
Yep, that's great. Look, thank you very much, both of you, for coming along and being willing to make a submission and be open to some thinking around what we might do about that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.